welcome to our very first live stream. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for being here. If you're new here, my name is Ryan, and today we're going to talk about domains. So please feel free, anytime you have a question, to leave it into the live chat, and I'd be more than happy to answer anything I can. You're not interrupting. Don't feel like interrupting. So leave it in the live chat, and let's dive right in. So first off, what is this channel about? Mattox Investments is a channel, and we talk about basically how to make money online with a full-time job. So I know a lot of us can relate to that. How do you make money? How do you make extra money? You're busy with your life, doing everything that you do. You have commitments. How do you make money online with a full-time job? So today we're going to touch on a little piece of that, and we're going to talk about domains. So first off, we're going to talk about how to pick a domain with absolutely zero experience. So I really want you guys to dive in. This is really informal. Just dive in and let's have a good time. Okay, so first off, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the basics of a domain. So how to pick a domain. When you think about building a domain, you also have to think about like building your brand online. So what does that mean? So it's basically like, building your personal, I guess, perspective, your personal, either your business or who you want people to perceive you as. So your brand, what do you want to show to the world? So first off, there's many different domains that you can choose as far as like the extensions. So you want to choose a .com domain. So .com is definitely the recommended domain. It's a top level domain, which means everybody recognizes and they trust this top level domain. So let's just say, for example, I know there's a lot of extensions out there. There's .net, .ai, there's .org, all kinds of stuff. And none of them are bad. It's just that they all have their own kind of placement, for what, as far as what you're going to be doing online. So if you're going to be building a business online or some sort of social media following, some sort of a blog or a website, you definitely want to stick to .com. So let's start with the basics. So the domain, you want it to ideally be 1 to 2 words if possible. And the reason is because when you say it to somebody, you don't want them to be like, what did they say? It was like 4 or 5 words and it's really long to type. Even if they're pretty standard words, you want it to be pretty short and simple, easy off the tongue, easy to remember, that kind of thing. Easy to remember and easy to spell. So you don't want to use slang terms. You don't want to use maybe a certain way if you pronounce something or spell something a certain way. You want to make sure that you spell it as grammatically correct as humanly possible. That way, when you say it to somebody on the street or in the store or somewhere, when you're talking about your business, you want to make sure that they actually know what you're talking about. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember that, because it's easy to remember. So keep in mind, no dashes, as enticing as they may be, no dashes or numbers. And the reason for that is because it just doesn't look that professional. You really want it to be, even if it's 1 or 2 words, I know they're going to be like scrunched together, but you really want it to just kind of be tight, short and sweet, and to the point. So the first place that we're going to check is, the first thing you want to do is we're going to check trademarks. So when you're thinking about you're building your brand, building your business, you could come up with any word, anything you want, but you got to remember that nowadays there's a lot of people that put trademarks on things, and this is specifically talking about the USA. Trademarks on not only just words or text, but also images and pictures. So we're going to go to this website right here. This is for the US Trademark Site, and what we're going to do here is, this should be your first stop. So let's say, for example, that you have an idea for a business. So let's just call it maybe like Ryan's domain. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in whatever those words, or not a sentence, but the grouping of words that you want to see if somebody already owns a trademark. So it's really, really simple. So just type in exactly what you want to search, or what you think you want to actually create or buy a domain for, and then just hit enter. And what it's going to do, it's going to bring up 19,000 results. So this is specifically, it pulls results from the words Ryan, Ryan's domain, anything that has any of those combined words. That's what this list is going to pull up. And just so you guys know, I mean, this is absolutely, it's an official website of the U.S. government. So I mean, this is as legit and as real in terms of making sure that what you're doing is on the up and up. You don't want to just buy a domain, create a logo, send it off, outsource some of your work, and then find out that your name, your domain, everything is already spoken for. So this is definitely something that would be a good first step for you to take a look at. So if we scroll down here, you can see there's different things. So the word mark is actually like the actual name. So the word of it, not necessarily the logo, the image, but just the word. So if the logo itself has the word in here, then that's going to be categorized as a word mark. So this is a good, really quick, you can scroll down and kind of see. So I put in here as an example Ryan's domain. And so we can just briefly kind of go through and just see there's Ryan's. I know this is an alcoholic beverage. And then you have a juice company. You can kind of see that as their logo here, Ryan's World, which is a really popular YouTube channel for a little boy that opens up toys. So you can go down here and you can just kind of scroll down and just double check that before you purchase a domain, you're going to want to make sure that it is not trademarked and it's not word marked. So if you go over here to the left side, and I'm going to leave the link for these in the PDF. So the PDF that we view right here, this is going to be available to download. So I'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to follow along later on, and you can go through this totally clickable PDF. So on the left hand side here, so if you uncheck dead, what it's going to do is it's going to drop down the number to all of the live. These are all the live trademarks. So what you want to do is scroll down. These are the most important ones that you want to focus on. So live, registered, and pending. So these are all the ones that either are in transition or waiting to be accepted but have been submitted. So either they're active or they've had a trademark or a word mark submitted for the specific name. So you can also sort this by, if this is too big, you can sort it by more of a list that has a logo on the left side and then also has the name here on the right side. Or what you can do is you can even make it a little bit smaller. And if you want to just scroll really quickly, because if you have something that's very specific and not this word, which is a pretty common name, then it might, this list, instead of 6,300, it might be very, very small. So this is just a good first step before you go on to the next step in our presentation to actually go through and find a domain. You're going to want to make sure that it's not trademarked. So that's the first step. This is really just to cover yourself in the end, in the off chance that somewhere down the road you don't want some kind of a legal battle or some kind of that kind of thing. So you just want to make sure that you're covered, it's free, nobody has it, and you're good to go. So that's the first step. So let's go back over here to our presentation. So the last thing to note when building a brand online is you definitely want to create all your socials and all of your online presence with the same name. So the domain that you pick, you want to create as best as you can all of your social medias, all of the website, the blog, all of that should be uniform, as closely tight-knit as possible, because you want to make sure that if somebody goes to your blog or if they go to your Facebook account or your Facebook page or maybe Instagram, you want it to be like, well, I wonder if they have an Instagram page or Facebook or LinkedIn, or so you want it to all resemble the same brand. So same logo, same brand. So just keep it as uniform as you possibly can. So let's go down here to the next slide. So this is really cool. So tools to find your domain. So what does this mean? So basically, if you've never done this before, if you've never actually bought a domain before, this is really an easy way to search for a domain. So anything.com. So domain search tools definitely make finding a domain a lot easier, make it a lot simpler, and you can solidify your brand with a matching domain name, which is exactly what you want to do. So there's two main domain providers that we're going to talk about today that you can purchase a domain from. So the first one you may have heard of, GoDaddy. The second one is Namecheap. So you also may have heard of that one. You can search domains for free on both of these. So we're going to open up both of these and take a look at some of the differences. So GoDaddy first. So GoDaddy, very simple site, very simple to navigate. Basically what you can do is you can go up here, and if you already have something in mind, you can type in the domain that you want. So you can either type it in here, or I'm going to show you actually a quick, show you a shortcut here. So let's pull up Namecheap. So I personally have gone with GoDaddy only because the customer service has done really well for me. I haven't had any issues, no problems. I always get actually like most of the cheaper prices that I find are on GoDaddy, and I don't attach websites or anything to them if I'm just buying a domain itself. So I definitely find that GoDaddy, for me personally, has been reliable over the last 10 plus years. So that's who I would go with, but it doesn't mean that's the end all to be all. You don't have to go with GoDaddy. It's just a suggestion. So Namecheap is another one. Same kind of thing. The layout looks a little bit different for a different company, but it does the exact same thing. So you can type in whatever domain that you would like to see if it's available. But instead of, there's a little quick shortcut here that I want to show you guys. So if we're going to go back to this presentation here. So this tool is called Instant Domain Search. So this is basically a tool that you can use to find domains that are available or for sale instantly as you're literally typing the letters. So we're going to click on this link here, and it's just instantdomainsearch.com. So what we can do is we can start typing in the name of a domain. Let's just say we want to use the same example. So Ryan's Domain. So if we do Ryan's Domain, you can see that the text is red on the screen. So what does that mean? So that means that somebody already purchased this. So they already own it. So you can kind of go one of two ways. The easiest way, you could just move on and you could skip it and you could come up with a different name. Or what you can do is you could potentially reach out to this person to see if they would be willing to sell. So red on this website means that just somebody owns it. So if it was green, so we can put in a letter here. So green means that it's available. So if you're on here and you're searching around and you have a domain that's green, then that's available. We can go to, and we can validate that on both GoDaddy and Namecheap. So if we were to just copy that real quick, so we're on GoDaddy, we're going to type in Ryan Domains with a Z and then search domains, and then it should return ryandomains.com is available, exact match. So GoDaddy has this domain for sale for $11.99. Most likely it's for the first year. So let's go over here to Namecheap. We're going to do the exact same thing just to show you guys the difference. So Ryan Domains domains. It's funny that it brought this up, but this is just, we don't want the .domains extension. So ryandomains.com, that's this one. So if you're searching on Namecheap, that might be something just to keep your eye on and just double check that if you want to add to cart, if you want to purchase it from one of these websites, that you make sure that you're actually purchasing the .com and you're not purchasing the .domains, .org, .bot, .net, any of that stuff. So, and as you can see here, this is $10.28 per year. So I'm guessing that's the first year. So usually what happens is if you wanted to purchase it, all you have to do is hit make it yours. And then what it's going to do, this is GoDaddy. What it's going to do is it's going to bring up a little side cart. So it's going to ask you if you want to bundle. So do you want to bundle this starter domain bundle? If you want to add email, you can add full domain protection. Or you can add website builder on this one if you want to do the essentials domain builder. So it's really up to you. I mean, I don't do any of these. I'm just going to buy the domain itself. I don't get either one of these. So I'll just say no thanks on that. And then what you can do is it'll tell you you're going to register this domain. If you register it for 3 years, then right now out of pocket it's going to cost you $55.97. So, and it even tells you when it renews. So because you're renewing it or you're buying it for 3 years, it depends. The further you stretch out, that means that less of a discount you're going to get. So for example, if you were to say 10 years, you'll see that 15% goes down to 4% discount. So really when we're talking about buying domains for this specific presentation and this example, we're really talking about buying it as cheap as we possibly can, meaning for 1 year at a time. And whether or not you want to keep the domain, you want to try to resell it, or depending on what you want to do with it, it's probably best to buy it for 1 year or 2 years. if you don't think you're going to have it long term, or you don't want to use it as a part of your business. So I would suggest just buying it for the 1 year, and that way you're going to get it the cheapest route. And then of course $11.99, there is going to be some tax. They tack on about, it's like 60 or 70 cents tax. GoDaddy does. But the cool thing is, then you own that domain instantly, and that is a piece of your digital real estate. So you own that. You own that for the year or however long you select it. So Namecheap is going to be the exact same thing. So you can click Add to Cart, and then you can click on View Item. And of course, everybody's going to offer you an upsell. It's all good. You can decide what you want to do, what's the reason for buying the domain. So it's really going to be up to you if you want to add these extras in. But for this example, this presentation, we're not going to be buying any of this stuff. It's just for the domain itself. So sorry about that, Sweetums. I didn't realize you had a question. Sorry. Okay, so Sweetums, the question is it easier to build a brand identity out of existing words, or is it easier to make up something like Temu in terms of building a brand? I would say, honestly, that's a great question. I would say, in terms of building a brand, I think it really depends on what the brand is going to be about. In terms of if it's something that is like personal to your name, or do you want something that is easily recognizable in terms of, is it about also, well, what's the niche you're in? Sports, it could be about cooking, it could be about finance online, it could be about blogging. So I think it really depends on, in terms of what you're actually going to be doing as far as building the brand identity. So I think there's no wrong answer. I think they're both right answers. So you could make up something. I think it's just a matter of would people, and this is just kind of my advice, like would people take it seriously if it was kind of a word that nobody knew and didn't make sense, kind of thing. So I think it really depends on what you're looking for in terms of building the brand. What kind of brand is it? What kind of what niche you're in, and that kind of thing, just that sort of thing. So hopefully that answered the question. If it didn't, please definitely post in the chat, and I'd be more than happy to kind of dig in a little further. Sorry, I was just taking a look at the chat here. Buggy, good to see you. Best Clue Reviews, great to see you guys. Awesome, you're welcome, no problem. Great. Okay, so we're gonna go back over here to the presentation. All right, so we kind of saw this. The domains are cheap, but you got to do your due diligence, and that's going to save you time and money in the end. Because if you just buy something kind of willy-nilly and you don't do your research, not only are you're going to be wasting your money potentially. You're going to waste your money, but also at the same time, you definitely don't want to end up in like some kind of a legal battle down the road. But granted, I mean, honestly, yeah, what are the odds of it? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, that kind of thing. So I don't want to give out legal advice, but just to be safe, obviously go through and check out the trademark site, and just make sure that you're good to go. And then you shouldn't have anything to worry about. So don't forget that domains are a digital asset, and that means you own a part of digital real estate on the internet. So, which sounds kind of intimidating. And let's see. Sorry, Best Clue Reviews. Let me take a look at your question. Sorry about that. So the question is, will you be teaching on a step-by-step way to sell domain names that we were bought? I have some and would like to learn about how to sell them. That's a great question, Best Clue Reviews. Great question. Yes, I actually have a video that I did, a couple videos actually about how to sell a domain, and I can definitely link those down in the description as well. But that's a great question. I would love to do a live stream on how to sell domains step by step, because it's such a cool process. I actually got one sold. I bought a couple, I don't know, it was like maybe 5 or 6, and I bought one for like $1 off of GoDaddy. I think it was like a Black Friday deal, or it was something that was some sort of a good deal. So they chopped it way down. Instead of being like $9-10, it was $1, and then I ended up selling it for $100, which is pretty nuts. And that was on GoDaddy. GoDaddy owns a company called Afternic, which is their kind of, I guess, domain marketplace. So that's really cool that Afternic and GoDaddy are, since they're the same company, everything is very seamless. So if you were to buy from Afternic, then sorry, excuse me. If you were to buy from GoDaddy and sell through Afternic, everything is super seamless. You already have an account with one, so you have an account with the other one, and you don't have to jump through any hoops. So that's awesome. So, yeah, that was a great question. Sorry, best clue reviews. Thank you, appreciate it. So, okay, so the last tip and the last kind of, you're welcome. The last tip that I have is, so definitely commit 100% to your domain name before you purchase it. And this kind of sounds simple, but I think it's important to note that, again, you're spending the money, so you want to make sure that this is something that you like, that it sounds silly, but you're not embarrassed to tell people, hey, this is my business name, or this is my domain name, or my social media presence, online, accounts online. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, in terms of before you go to purchase something. So, all right, let's go on to the next slide here. Okay, so buying your domain. So we kind of touched on this, but once you find the perfect name, then it's time to buy. So next, you're going to decide where you're going to buy it from: GoDaddy, Namecheap, or elsewhere. Then you're going to add the domain to your cart, and we kind of walked through that process a little earlier. And then you want to choose how long you want to register it for. And then the less years you register, the more you save. And we kind of went through that example here on both Namecheap and through GoDaddy. So I think this can be a little intimidating when you're actually going through and you're buying a domain, in terms of, do I really need all this extra stuff in here? And the answer is, it depends. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but it really depends on what you're going to do with the domain. I mean, is this going to be your actual core business? Then you definitely want, this right here is full domain protection. So what does that mean? So it prevents hackers from stealing your domain or making any kind of unauthorized changes. That's definitely important, right? And then, it requires approval through two-factor verification anytime that you try to delete something or transferring a domain. Excuse me. That's important too. I mean, they kind of make you feel like you can't live without this, like you're going to be hacked immediately if you don't get this stuff, which I know isn't true, but it really depends. Oh, thank you, Sweetums. Really appreciate it. Thank you for putting that in the chat. It really depends on what you're going to do, and I mean, it's all about like best practices. You want to make sure that you go through and you do your due diligence. You set up multiple security ways on your account and that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that not only do you have, obviously the normal stuff, the strong password and that kind of thing, but you want to have multiple emails connected if you can, and different two-factor authentication, meaning if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to make a change, you could have it to where, say, like a GoDaddy or like a Namecheap could actually send you a text on your cell phone, and that would actually go through and further validate that it's you and not just some stranger trying to get into your account. So, I mean, there's different like checks and balances that you can make sure that you're safe and secure and all that stuff works. So you just want to make sure that you're good to go. So, all right, let's go back over here to the presentation here. So, okay. So I want to take a quick second and just kind of talk about the channel, what's on my channel, and why did I create it, what is it about. So basically what it is it's for the busy parent or the busy professional that has a 9-to-5 full-time job, and they're really just trying to make some extra income, or they're trying to learn how to make extra income because they have no idea. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. So there's a lot of different things that we cover. We cover affiliate marketing, we cover blogging, we cover graphic design, and we cover a lot more. So a lot of YouTube stuff also in there. So a lot of different types of categories as far as like different streams of online income. So be sure, if you want to go in there, you can check out, we have a couple different playlists that are kind of sorted out by different topics. Otherwise, if you go into the channel and you actually click the magnifying glass, you can search, if you can search a keyword and see if there's a video on that. Otherwise, always we'd love to, if you'd like to drop a comment on any video just asking us for something you'd like us to cover, we'd be definitely more than happy to do that. So I forgot side hustles. How could I forget side hustles? So along with what Blue's Best Clue reviews said, selling domains, there's all kinds of different side hustles that we talk about. So that's also a playlist that we have on the channel as well. So, okay. All right, so let's go down to this next slide here. Okay. All right. That is going to bring us to the end of this portion of the live stream with buying the domains and getting everything set up and kind of getting your brand set and figuring out how to buy it, making sure you check the trademark, making sure all that's good to go, and kind of having everything be as uniform as possible. So I just want to mention, if you guys like this and you wanted to actually get a copy of this PDF here, there's going to be a link down in the description. So all it's going to ask is for a name and an email, and the reason is because it just has to make sure that you're not a robot. So you have to put in a name and an email. But if you want the PDF, it's free. There's no strings attached. So just put it. There's a link down in the description so you can fill it out if you like it to get this PowerPoint presentation here. That would be really great if you want to download it and just follow along. As always, drop a comment and we will answer any questions that you guys might have. We're happy to help in any way. This is our first live stream, so just trying to iron out the kinks and all that, and we're really happy to have everybody here join us. And definitely, if you like this video and you'd like to see more of this, please go ahead and hit the like button, and please also consider subscribing if you haven't yet. That would greatly help out the channel. And we do have a couple different ways you can support our channel in addition to watching. Buy me a coffee, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle. So there's no obligation, just wanted to throw it out there. If you'd like to, we would appreciate that as well. And last thing, so stay tuned. So the next video that we have, this is actually a video series. So the next video that we have in this series, we're going to talk about how to find affiliate products and how to promote them. So that's something that's going to come up. Right now, our schedule is about once a month for live streaming. Hopefully we can pick it up and do a little bit more often. But as of right now, it's about once a month. So stay tuned for that video in January, probably late January, about finding affiliate products and how to promote them. And all of these options, or all these avenues that we're going to talk about, they're all free. So everything's free, so you don't have to pay for any ads. You don't have to pay for any extra things. You don't have to outsource anything. It's all stuff that you can do yourself. So once again, thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it, and hope you got something out of this video. And until next time, do well, be safe. Thank you.